Let's see it, David. Boom.
I'm very privileged to be here with David Reynolds, a young man who I can consider is the future of arm lifting. He has had massive achievements for such a young man. David, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good, Ricardo. Thank you for having me on.
I'm excited. First of all, I love hanging out with you when we're a couple times a year when we're in the same time zone and actually at the same place. Um, the lifting you've done has been so impressive at your age. Can you tell the viewers at home how old you are?
I'm 23 years old.
And you've been competing on the world stage since 18 or 19?
No, 20 years old. At the Olympia in
20.
23 was my first major contest.
Well, it's so impressive. What have you been up to lately, David, as far as your competitions, your goals? I know you've lost a bunch of weight, which has been great for your lifts. You seem to have lost weight and gotten much stronger. Why don't you talk about that?
So, back in 2023, June at New England's was my heaviest body weight. I was 292 pounds, and I believe at the Arnold this year I weighed in at 216. So, a bit of weight loss there.
Yeah. How much did you deadlift on that Rogue Axle, David, at the Arnold?
I did 408 and it felt pretty good. So I jumped up to 419 and I got it about 3 or 4 inches off the ground before it went right back down. So I would have liked to hit that, but next year.
Yeah, 407, 408, a body weight at any age is a world-class axle deadlift. I'm still looking to break 400, and I haven't done it. So you beat me to that one. So that's David 1, Ricardo 0 right there. So good job there. But you've really taken your training extremely seriously, and you don't really have weaknesses, and you've improved every single contest. So what at your age has motivated you to put so much of your time and energy into this, where a lot of young men your age are playing video games or doing other things?
Well, I think it was from my track and field days. I did track and field for 6 years, and I won a state championship and I competed at New England's, but it was never like I don't feel that I had potential to do much more than that with track. And switching over to arm lifting, my first day in the sport, I won the New England Championship. And so for me, I saw that the ceiling there was a bit higher. So I wanted to see how far I can take it. So that's the goal, is just I want to, whether it's just winning New England titles from here on out or winning bigger competitions, I just want to see what I can push myself to do. So.
Well, that's that's a great story, and that's what we're all trying to do, is see what we can do, right? That's why we compete, because you want to see how it comes out. And I love the chapters in the story that you're writing, David, because you're a young guy, you're the underdog. The older guys, because we lifted at the same time at the Arnold this year. We lifted in the same flight, and I'm looking at the older guys, and a lot of them were surprised you were still around over 400 on the axle. And I don't know if you noticed that, but I did. And I thought that was just fantastic.
Well, I've been around that 400-pound mark now for a couple of years, and I just haven't been able to get over it. And then in January at the SSE Winter Classic, I did 400, and I don't know how I managed, but I tore my thumb open, so I had to stop there. And so I was happy to get a chance to do something more than that at the Arnold.
Well, you did it all right. Can you tell us what is your favorite lift and why that's your lift when it comes down to it?
I like a lot of the lifts. I like most of the heavy two-handed lifts. I like, my hands are pretty similar in strength. My right hand's a little bit stronger, but my left hand's a little bit longer than my right hand is, so I can make up for that strength with the surface area that hand covers. And I find that the two-handed lifts are a good test. You need strong in both hands. Whereas you can get away on the one-handed lift with not having a hand that's up to par with the other one. So I think that's a good test of overall strength, and I do enjoy those lifts.
Well, that makes two of us. Why don't you the viewers at home, one thing you've done in your training over the last, say, 6 months that's helped you progress from, or even last year, from David this time last year to David today? What's one thing you've done differently, or that you've improved or changed or optimized?
My training's been kind of the same for the past few years. I usually just do 8-week cycles into each contest. For the past competitions I did, I had only 2 weeks in between, so there wasn't much time to do an 8-week prep. So I had to train both of those events at the same time. But it's just kind of progressive overload throughout the 8 weeks. And then weeks out will be my heaviest session, and I'll do a rep or two around 90 to 92.5% of my max. And then hopefully in competition day, I can go to 102 or 103% of that max. That's the goal. So I'd say the biggest thing I've changed has been my diet, which I also kind of cycle every 8 weeks now, and that's helped me lose a lot of the weight that I have.
Well, the diet is, and I've actually been experimenting with my diet a lot too, because for me, with some of the unfortunate health consequences I've had to be real strict on my diet. And I can tell you on a personal level, I have finally beaten cholesterol on my last blood test. So now I've got the diet dialed in. I've also lost 20 pounds from January or about December of 2025 to now. I competed at the 220s with you at the Arnold. So yeah, I was 220 and a half exactly yesterday. So in getting ready for my contest next Sunday with at the Santa Monica Classic. So yeah, I experimented heavily with diet as well. So can you tell us one thing that you've done differently that's allowed your diet to fuel your training, fuel all these successes?
Yeah, when I was like 290, I didn't have a great knowledge base on what food I should be eating, and so a lot of it, like probably not the food I should have been eating. A lot of junk food and a lot of food in general. So now I don't eat all throughout the day. It's just I have my 5 meals. I try and keep my carbohydrates under or around 250 to 300 grams. I'll go over that a little bit a few days before a contest, but most of my training that's where I'll stick around. And then 30 grams of protein per day. And it's for every 8 weeks, I'll keep it the same foods, and then I'll switch it up for the next 8 weeks just to get different carb sources and different protein sources in, so it doesn't kind of
well, the results are clearly there because you've transformed your physique and you're lifting more. I really mean this, David. I think the future for you is unlimited as you continue to progress and get older and get stronger. Trust me, as you get older, some of these grip things, they don't leave. You only get stronger. So I can't imagine you as a 30-year-old or 40-year-old or like me, a 50-year-old. I can't imagine the weights you'll lift. But thank you very much for participating today and hanging out with me here on the channel. I think if the lifters don't know about David Reynolds, they should know about him. And I think, I look forward to the next competition. Let's just end with this. Besides the Super Series Stage 2, which I imagine you're going to do in the Boston, New England area, what are your other plans for competitions for the rest of 2026?
So, yep, I'll be doing the Super Series Stage 2. Matt's Choke is going to be hosting that in conjunction with the Massachusetts State Championship, so I'm excited for that one. I'm going to really heavily focus on the hub for that. I missed 100 last year. I pulled it up to lockout and dropped it, so I think that's my next big goal is to pull 100 on the hub. So have that and have the Northeast Regional Championships 4 weeks after that, and then the World Championships in Las Vegas 4 weeks after that. So my biggest goal this year is to make the podium at Worlds. I missed it the past 2 years. It was pretty close, so I'd like to get up on that podium this year.
Well, I would be happy. I would be delighted to put a medal around your neck in Las Vegas, David. So I look forward to seeing that come to fruition. As you know, our weight class is very, very deep. So it all depends on who's there and who has the best day. And there's a different combination of events every time. So the weights don't. We'll see for you on September 26th who's on the podium. But thank you for spending some time with me today. And I just love watching you lift.
Appreciate that, Ricardo. Thank you for having me.
All right.